The first sentence, the hook. The radio crackled, then went silent, and in that silence, Edmund Hillary knew he was completely alone. This wasn't how it was supposed to happen. The plan was clear. The communication was supposed to work. The team was supposed to be in contact. But now, 8,000 meters above sea level, the radio was dead. Hillary looked at Tenzing. Tenzing looked back. Neither spoke. They didn't need to. They both understood what this meant. No communication, no rescue, no way to call for help if something went wrong. They were on their own. "We continue?" Tenzing asked quietly. Hillary nodded. "We continue." Rehook 1, the oxygen crisis. But the real problem hadn't shown itself yet. 3 hours into the climb, Hillary heard a sound, a hissing sound, soft at first, then louder. He stopped, looked down at his oxygen tank. A leak. His heart sank. Oxygen wasn't optional at this altitude, it was survival. Without it, the brain shut down. The body collapsed. Death came quickly. He checked the gauge. The tank was draining, fast. Tenzing noticed. "How much time?" Hillary calculated in his head. "Maybe 2 hours, if we're lucky. 2 hours to reach the summit and get back to safety. 2 hours to achieve what no human had ever done. Or die trying?" Tenzing's face remained calm. "Then we move faster." Hillary nodded. But inside, fear gripped him. Not fear of death, fear of failure. Fear that after everything, all the preparation, all the sacrifice, all the pain, he would fall short. Just like he did in 19. What people didn't know was that Hillary almost didn't come back that first time. In 1951, when the expedition failed, Hillary stood at 7,000 meters. The team had turned back. The weather was too dangerous. Everyone was descending, except Hillary. He stood there staring at the summit. So close, so impossibly close. A voice in his head whispered, "Keep going, alone, you can make it." For 5 minutes, he seriously considered it. 5 minutes where he thought about abandoning safety, abandoning the team, abandoning logic, just to reach that summit. But then he looked down, saw the other climbers descending, saw how small they looked, how fragile. And he realized dying on a mountain wasn't brave, it was selfish. So he turned around, descended, lived to try again. Now, 2 years later, he faced the same choice, but this time he wasn't alone. Tenzing was with him, and that changed everything. They reached what climbers called the Hillary Step, a 40-foot vertical wall of ice and rock. Nearly impossible to climb. Many had tried, all had failed. Hillary stared at it. His oxygen was running low, his body was exhausted, his mind was foggy. "Can you climb it?" Tenzing asked. Hillary didn't answer immediately. He studied the wall, looking for cracks, footholds, anything. Then he saw it, a narrow crack running up the side, barely wide enough for a hand. "I can try," he said. He jammed his ice axe into the crack, pulled himself up. His fingers screamed in pain. The cold had turned them into stiff claws. One move, then another, then another. Halfway up, his foot slipped. He caught himself, barely. His heart hammered in his chest. His breath came in short gasps. The oxygen tank hissed its warning, running empty. But he kept climbing, because turning back now wasn't an option, not after coming this far. He reached the top of the wall, pulled himself over, collapsed on the ice. Tenzing climbed up behind him. "You okay?" Hillary nodded, couldn't speak. His lungs were on fire. They rested for 2 minutes. That was all they could afford. Then they stood and continued. An hour later, Hillary began to doubt. The summit should have been visible by now, but all he saw was more ice, more slope, more mountain. What if they were on the wrong path? What if they had miscalculated? What if the summit was still hours away and they were running out of oxygen? Tenzing must have seen it in his face. "You're thinking too much," he said. Hillary looked at him. "What if we don't make it?" Tenzing shrugged. "Then we don't make it, but we tried." It was such a simple answer, but it cut through Hillary's anxiety. Yes, they tried, and that was enough. He took a breath, nodded, and kept walking. Then suddenly, Tenzing stopped. Hillary almost walked into him. "What?" Tenzing raised his hand, pointed ahead. Hillary looked, and his breath caught. The slope was flattening. The angle was decreasing, and just ahead, maybe 50 meters, the snow leveled out completely. No more upward climb, no more mountain. The summit. They had found it, but Hillary didn't feel joy. Not yet, because he knew something else. Reaching the summit was only half the battle. Getting down alive was the other half. And most people who died on Everest died on the way down. They walked the last 50 meters in silence. Step, step, step. Each one felt heavier than the last. Hillary's body was shutting down. His vision was blurring. The oxygen alarm was screaming now. But he kept walking because he had to see it, had to stand there, had to know what it felt like. Finally, they reached the flat ground. Hillary looked around. There was nowhere left to climb, no higher point, nothing above them but sky. They were at the top of the world. He turned to Tenzing, Tenzing turned to him. They shook hands. No smiles, no cheers, just respect. "We did it," Hillary whispered. Tenzing nodded. "Yes, together." Hillary pulled out his camera, took a photograph of Tenzing holding his ice axe, the flag of Nepal and the Union Jack tied to it. Tenzing didn't take a photo of Hillary. Hillary never asked him to. Later, reporters would ask why. Hillary's answer was simple. "It wasn't about me. It was about what we achieved together." They spent 15 minutes at the summit. Hillary buried a small cross that John Hunt had given him. Tenzing left offerings to the Buddhist gods. Then Hillary looked down at the route they had climbed, at the thousands of meters below them. And for the first time, he felt afraid, because now they had to descend, exhausted, low on oxygen, in deteriorating weather. This was the dangerous part. Going down was worse than going up. Their legs were shaking. Their minds were foggy. Every step required concentration they didn't have. At one point, Hillary's crampon caught on a rock. He stumbled, started to fall. Tenzing grabbed him, pulled him back. Hillary's heart was pounding, 1 second slower, and he would have fallen thousands of meters. "Thank you," he gasped. Tenzing just nodded, careful. They continued, slower now, more cautious. The oxygen ran out completely. Hillary felt his mind drifting, his vision darkening, his body wanting to lie down and sleep. But Tenzing kept pulling him forward. "Not yet, Edmund. Not yet." Hours later, though, it felt like days. They reached Camp 9. The other climbers were waiting. "Did you make it?" someone shouted. Hillary nodded weakly. "We made it." Cheers erupted. But Hillary barely heard them. He collapsed in his tent and slept for 14 hours straight. When Hillary woke up, everything had changed. News had spread around the world. The first ascent of Everest, the impossible achieved. Reporters wanted interviews, governments wanted ceremonies, everyone wanted a piece of him. But Hillary felt hollow. He had achieved his dream, reached the highest point on Earth, made history. So why did he feel empty? It took him weeks to understand. The summit wasn't the goal. The journey was the goal. The struggle, the growth, the person he became along the way. The summit was just a moment, a point in time. But the lessons he learned about perseverance, about humility, about working with others, those were forever. And that was worth more than any summit. Years later, when asked about his greatest achievement, Hillary didn't say Everest. He said building schools for Sherpa children. Because he realized something important. Conquering a mountain was temporary, but helping people that lasted forever, and that was the real victory. Not standing at the top of Everest, but choosing what to do with that achievement afterwards.